only Christmas tree worth having this year is the Tree of Evolutionary Life, now in its limited edition winter form. Grab this limited time poster now while you can. It depicts every single Pokemon and how they'll be related to each other, including the all-new Melmetal. Using the links below, grab one for yourself or for a friend.
Hey Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here, and welcome back to Kanto Week. Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are coming out around the corner, and actually just disclaimer before I start. I have a cold, you can probably hear it, it's probably going to be like this all week. I'm so sorry, but one of the things that is going on all week is I am doing a giveaway of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. All you gotta do is leave a like and a comment on this video or any of the videos coming out this week that have previously come out titled Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee. You have a chance to win a copy. And this video is one of those topics that I always do when a new generation is coming out and that I've seen a lot of other people do, which is selecting the team that you're going to use in Let's Go. And it's a little bit different this time because usually when we do this, we look at the new Pokemon and which ones are exciting. But obviously Kanto has been out for 20 years. I started by playing these games' predecessor, Pokemon Yellow. However, this video idea came about with something that I was just doing in my own time, which is I had in front of me all the different families of Pokemon from Kanto in the form of Pokemon cards, and yes, some of them are in sleeves because I am not a grubby human who's gonna ruin my hollows, but I had every family of Kanto Pokemon, and I was like, you know what, I need to come up with a method to select my team. I'm covered in nostalgia blindness, I love all of Gen 1, I'm a proper Gen 1er. So how do I choose which Pokemon should be on my team? I can't just go for Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise, and Pikachu again. And I definitely, whenever I play a new Pokemon game or a new run-through of a Pokemon game, I try and put an emphasis on Pokemon that I've never used before. But there are actually a lot of little tweaks in Let's Go that are going to make this experience a little bit different. For example, Mega Evolutions are in it, Alolan forms become available in it. This is the first time through Kanto that we have the Fairy type. We haven't had the Steel and Dark type ever apart from Fire and Leaf Green, and even then they were very limited. There actually wasn't a Dark type in Kanto, but through Alolan forms and Mega Evolution there is. There are Pokemon with the Pokeride ability, the Pokemon that you can travel and ride on their back. That's never been done before, not really, apart from, I guess, in Alola. And there are some Pokemon that don't evolve in Kanto that do evolve in later games, like Magmar and Electabuzz, and I wanted to prioritize these Pokemon because in this game, Electabuzz and Magmar are good because it's a much smaller pool of Pokemon. They don't need to evolve. In what other run-through am I actually going to get to play and have them on my Fire Animal team? Probably not many because I'm more likely to evolve them. And so I wanted to prioritize these Pokemon, and in particular, Pokemon that I haven't used before. So I've refilmed me doing the selection process. I already know what the team is going to be, but I want to show you how I got there because I think it would be fun if you did the same, if you followed this same way of doing it. And granted, any of the criteria that I listed, you can just scrap them if you don't care about that. But here is how I did it, and you can sort of see a recreation on screen, and apologies beforehand, I did forget a few Alolan forms and Mega Evolutions. So for this, I'm using dice encounters. I want to assign points to Pokemon. I want to give them a point if they have a Mega Evolution, because these are available in Let's Go. So you're talking about Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise. Charizard's actually getting 2 points, or should get 2 points, because it has 2 Mega Evolutions to choose from. Alakazam, Gengar, Kangaskhan, Pinsir, Gyarados, Aerodactyl, Mewtwo has 2 of them, Pidgeot and Beedrill, which I know for a fact I forgot when I recreated it, but they both have Mega Evolutions, and of course, Slowbro. These are the Mega Pokemon of Kanto. So, once we have the points distributed, now we do the same thing again, but for Alolan forms. Raticate, Raichu, Sandslash, Ninetales, Dugtrio, Persian, which I know for a fact I forgot in the recreation as well, Golem, Muck, which I also forgot, as well as Executor and Marowak. These Pokemon are all Alolan forms, and so they are worth a point each as well. Now, let's look at different types. I'm granting a point to any Pokemon that is the Fairy, Dark, or Steel type. Fairy is definitely something we've never used before in Kanto, and Dark, as I said before, we haven't really used in Kanto before. If you got an Umbreon, I think, from Pokemon Colosseum or XD, you could have traded it to Fire Red and Leaf Green, but chances are you haven't used a Dark type in Kanto before. As for the Steel, that was very limited with only Magneton. We do, of course, now have Melmetal, but I don't have a card for Melmetal. And chances are I probably won't use it in my first run through anyway. So for these Pokemon, let's look at the Dark types first. Never before seen in Kanto, we are now giving an additional point to Gyarados, Raticate, and Persian. This because of their Alolan forms and Megas that are, of course, Dark type. We do the same again, of course, for Steel type, giving a point to Magneton, as well as Sandslash and Dugtrio, and of course we'd give one to Melmetal if it was here. And finally, the Fairy type. We have Alolan Ninetales, which is part Fairy, but now for the first time ever, Clefable, Wigglytuff, and Mr. Mime are all fairy type native to Kanto. Goodbye, Lance. We're going to take those down. I mean, if Lance is in the game, I don't actually know at this point. So, okay, all those points are distributed. Now let's look at the let's go more specific things like rideable Pokemon. Now, we don't know for sure which Pokemon, the full roster of what is and isn't rideable, but in trailers, I believe we've seen Charizard, Dragonite, Pidgeot, and Dodrio. I think we may have seen Tauros, although I might just be getting that from Sun and Moon and thinking that it's rideable, but I think Tauros. It would be weird if Tauros wasn't rideable. It's like the classic Poké Ride Pokemon. Arcanine, Rapidash, and Lapras, as well as Onix. These Pokemon are all rideable, which I think is going to make me more inclined to actually use them on my team because I want to get that experience of riding a Pokemon around the Poké Earth. And one more criteria, again, you might not care about this, you might just disregard it, but Pokemon that can evolve in previous generations that can't in this one. Anything that has an evolution that way, not if it's got a baby form specifically. Like, I'm not going to include Jinx because its evolution is Smoochum, and that's going down a step. We want to go up a step, you know? We want the form in Kanto to be the best form of it available in the game. So for that, we have Golbat, Magneton, Onix. We've got Lickitung, Rhydon, Chansey, Tangela, Seadra, Scyther, Electabuzz, and Magmar, and finally Porygon, which I'm almost already certain I'm not going to use. Speaking of which, this system won't end up giving me the top 6 Pokemon I'm going to use. It's just going to limit my options. Next up, I want to give a point, and this is the final thing really, to any Pokemon that I haven't used before. Skimming over the Pokemon, this would be Pokemon like Beedrill and Fearow, Arbok, Wigglytuff, Vileplume, Parasect, Persian Tentacle, Rapidash, Magneton, Farfetch'd. I have a list up here. We've got Dugong, Murk, Cloyster. I've never used Hypno properly before. Lickitung, Rhydon, which is a very cool Pokemon. Chansey, Tangler, Kangaskhan. Seeking, Starmie, Mr. Mime I've never used before, Jinx I've never used before, Magmar, Electabuzz, Pinsir I've never used any of these before, Gyarados I haven't really used before properly. I think I may have done in one run through, but I really like that Pokemon. Ditto, Vaporeon and Flareon, which are an interesting ones. I'm going to get to those in a moment, and Porygon I've never used before as well, and Aerodactyl. Everything else I've used in a Pokemon run through, whether it was a Kanto run through or another run through. So now we're at the point where any Pokemon that has no tokens on it at all, those Pokemon should just be removed because I've either used them before or there's nothing new and exciting about them. So we're just gonna remove all of those. And anything still on the table that I have used before, even if it's got counters on it, I should just take a counter off, and if it's left with no counters, I should remove those as well. And ultimately, that wipes out like half the roster of the Kanto Pokemon. Now we're on to the actual selection process, and this actually leaves me with 3 piles. Alolan Persian is in its own pile. I've never used a Persian before, I've never used an Alolan Persian before, I've never used it's a dark type, and it's an Alolan form. That is the top pile. Then there's a middle pile of everything that had 2 tokens on it, and there's a bottom pile of things that have 1 token on it. Now, I'm going to bump Alolan Persian right the way down, because I'm not interested in its Alolan form, and that counts for 2 out of its 3 points, so it's now just Persian. Sorry, I just don't like the look of Alolan Persian. So we bump that down to the bottom pile. Now I'm left with 2 piles, so we'll start off with the one that has the 2 tokens on it. Everything in this pile either has something new about it, or I haven't used it before, there's something interesting about it. And I'm just going to go ahead and choose 3 Pokemon that I particularly gravitate towards. Here, the immediate ones that spoke to me were Rhydon, Magneton, and Dodrio. Magneton is just very cool. It's part Steel type. It doesn't evolve into another Pokemon. I just think it would make for a cool Pokemon on a team. Rhydon is awesome. I actually prefer, Rhydon to Rhyperior, its evolution. So this is the one chance I'm really going to get to use a Rhydon and have it as a powerhouse on a team without feeling like I need to evolve it. And Dodrio, I'm Birdkeeper Toby. Look, I'm wearing the Birdkeeper dungarees. I'm a Birdkeeper Toby. Birdkeeper Toby uses Doduo. I've never used Doduo before. I've never used Dodrio, and Dodrio is rideable. Also, these 3 Pokemon are all very different types, so it kind of made sense to me to focus in on these. So now this is the first half of the team. Now we just put that pile to the side for 1 second and have a look at the 1-pointers. Oh, and here, by the way, I had to get rid of things like Ninetales because I actually remembered I have used Alolan Ninetales before. I also got rid of the evolutions because let's not forget this is Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, and I didn't want to end up in a situation where I'd maybe have an Eevee on my team and then also have an evolution on my team because you can't evolve the partner Pokemon. You would have to catch a wild one and then evolve it. I don't know, just didn't feel like something I wanted to do. I also had previously removed all legendary Pokemon. I just don't think legendary Pokemon are the kind of thing you want to use in your first run through. Now, I have my first 3 Pokemon in the team, Magneton, Rhydon, and Dodrio. I'm now going to remove any Steel, Electric, Ground, or Flying Pokemon from this pile. I also realized that just like Alolan Ninetales, I have made a mistake. I have used Alolan Raticate before, so that's gone. Butterfree was also a mistake. I've used Butterfree before, I don't know why that was in there. And with the flying types left, Gyarados and Charizard, I have used Charizard before, and I think I may have used Gyarados once before. They're both flying types, and I decided to get rid of them, just because, again, I've used them before, and I want to prioritize Pokemon that I haven't used before. This leaves me with just a handful of Pokemon. What Pokemon could complement this team? The Pokemon that really called out to me, that interested me, were Hypno, Slowbro, and Cloyster, as well as Wigglytuff and Vileplume. All of these Pokemon are Pokemon that I haven't used before, and I've been interested in using. So we're now here to a top 8. I've got to turn it into a top 6, and that seemed really easy to do. As much as I really want to use Cloyster at some point, and I really want to use Hypno at some point, and maybe I'll use them in a second run through, I decided to eliminate them, because Slowbro is both Water and Psychic, and covers both of their roles. I mean, it literally has a Cloyster attached to its tail, so there's that. And this leaves me with 6 Pokemon. Hooray! 6 Pokemon, a full team. Except, this is Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Well, one of the teammates is probably being taken up by Pikachu at all times. And I say Pikachu because this team in particular would have to be Let's Go Pikachu to work. That's because it has Vileplume on it, and Vileplume and Oddish is a Let's Go Pikachu exclusive. And so I decide to eliminate Magneton finally, because even though I would love to use it, I have Pikachu and that covers the electric role. And here we end up with a final team of 6 that I'm actually incredibly happy with. The Partner Pikachu, the Slowbro, which is the Pokemon that can Mega Evolve, covering the water and psychic elements of the team. The Dodrio, which is the Pokemon that I can ride, and I've never used a Dodrio before. I've never used any of these Pokemon apart from Pikachu before. The Vileplume, a Pokemon that I've never used before, and a version exclusive, so it's going to feel very special to my adventure in particular. The Wigglytuff, which is a fairy type for the first time in Kanto, is going to help me take down some of those incredibly powerful dragons. And finally, Rhydon, a Pokemon that I actually prefer to its next evolution, so I'm very happy that I'm going to get to use it here as the powerhouse that it was always meant to be. This is a really cool team for Let's Go that is optimized to me, and this is the one that I'm going to try and be using at the stream when the games come out at the end of this week. Now, granted, in that stream, I might feel different. I might encounter a shiny Pokemon, and if I encounter a shiny Pokemon, I'm obviously going to use that. But in an ideal scenario, my next run through Kanto in the Let's Go games, this is the team I'm going for. I think it'd be absolutely great if you did the same process, by a process of elimination and granting points, to work out what Pokemon team that you would be best suited for. I was actually really surprised when I did this, because what it did is it didn't just tell me here are the 6 Pokemon that you need, it gave me a smaller selection to work from, and I found that there was lots of Pokemon that really interested me in that selection. There was still plenty of Pokemon I didn't want to use, like Alolan Persian. I just discarded them. I just went, well, no. I know I don't want to use that Pokemon. The great thing about this team as well is it's really well paced. Like, I know I can get Oddish on Route 1, I can get Jigglypuff around about Mount Moon. Some of the Pokemon like Rhyhorn and Doduo, they're very available in the mid-game, so there's lots to work with here. But anyway, that is it. That is my Kanto team. This is the team that I intend to use in Let's Go when the games come out this weekend. Of course, don't forget to leave a like and a comment. Thank you for putting up with my cold. Leave a like and a comment, and it's your chance to win a copy of Let's Go. I will see you tomorrow with another video, because this is Kanto week. New videos every day, all this week. And of course, soar high, Pokemon Masters.
A massive shout out goes to my incredible patrons, many of who you can see the name of on screen now. Most of all to the big patrons of the month, Yoni, Sobin, and Xavis. If you want to find out how you can support the channel, please check out the links to Patreon in the description below and get some of those sweet, sweet perks. Thank you.